All right, everybody, welcome out to the Logroom Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, June the 13th, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you with me, as always. It's none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hey, it's really hard to get these things off without destroying the freaking cupcake sometimes.
Well, it depends on how much glue they used on the cupcake.
Glue, yeah. What kind of glue do they use? Gorilla Glue?
I think they did. Crazy glue, Gorilla Glue.
This is
sort of glue.
This is a trick I saw once. You can take the bottom of the cupcake, rip it off, stick it on top of the frosting.
And then you have a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. Yeah. So why are you eating a cupcake? Why don't you tell us?
Well, because it's National Cupcake Lovers Day, John.
Happy National Cupcake Lovers Day, everybody. As you know, that's what we do here. If you know Dave, if you know Samurai, you know damn well he lives for the days of the week and the special days of the week.
This is the first one I've actually honored lately. Because yesterday was what was it? National Peanut Butter Cookie Day. I didn't have a peanut butter cookie. The day before that was Corn on the Cob Day.
I had corn on the cob that day.
We actually had corn on the cob yesterday, and I did have a peanut butter cookie today, so I'm about one behind.
There you
go. Saturday, did you have gin on Saturday?
Did you need to ask me that question?
Yes, I did, for the sake of the audience, who some may not know you and not realize that you drink gin on an hourly basis.
Yes, gin. I had gin on Saturday. I did. After I had a couple of beers with you fine folks over at Old Heights for their anniversary, for their third anniversary.
Oh yeah, third anniversary at Old Heights.
And then I had and then I came home. We had dinner, and I had gin.
It was also National Rosé Day. I had both gin and rosé.
I did not.
But you remember how friggin' tired I was that day. I just got home and crashed.
I do. That was a very
after stopping at Stuff Your Face in New Brunswick, and also Thomas Sweets. Thomas Sweets is great.
Right, exactly.
So vanilla cake with chocolate icing or chocolate cake with chocolate icing, John?
No, chocolate cake with chocolate icing.
Okay.
Of those two choices, I will take vanilla cake with vanilla icing.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds actually quite boring.
A little bit.
Now here's a question for you. Does this count as a cupcake?
Does that count as a cupcake? It does not. It counts as a what do they call those things? Oh yeah, cookies.
It's a black and white.
Right. Counts.
I don't know if I need that or not.
You don't think you're gonna need that?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not from an Italian bakery. The Italian
bakery, from the proper bakery to make a black and white cookie
is an Italian bakery. Yes, I believe so. Don't you?
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying there's a proper way to make them that some bakeries don't make them that way. I mean, obviously they're better from that particular bakery. I'm just saying.
No, the frosting's got to be right. You know what? Let's ask Al.
Why don't we ask Al? Let's. By the way, let's bring him on right now. Here we go. Welcome to the show, please, Mr. Al Gattullo from the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast.
Hi, gentlemen.
How are you?
I'm good. An Italian bakery for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how they particularly make them. I do know how to eat them because I'm fat, and so I like.
Do you want some?
I would love some.
The short answer to that is yes.
But the doctor just told me last week that my blood sugar is a little high, and so I'm on medication.
So's mine too, but
yeah, I know. Well, you enjoy it. And what did Seinfeld say? The black and white cookie is the racial equality cookie because it's black, half black, half white.
Half white, right?
So you're saying if you split this in half, if you don't split it this way,
right,
share it with somebody.
It's supposed to be equal portions.
You're both racist.
Yeah, it's supposed to be equal portions of icing. So.
Right,
if you only eat half of it and throw the other way, you're a racist.
You have to eat it.
I guess.
You have to eat it.
Or listen, you could be Beale or Loki in Let That Be Your Last Battlefield from Star Trek. Remember?
You could be
black on one side, white on the other, and then white on one.
That was a genius episode. I love that episode.
One of the better ones of the third season of talking about racism. So,
but the best part about that whole thing was that as you're watching it, you're not seeing the difference either between the two.
Right.
Until they pointed it out that, well, he's white on that side and black on this side. I'm black on this side and white on that side. And you look at that's the only difference. And then when you internalize that to our culture, you're like,
right.
Well, damn, it's the only difference.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's That is one.
See, we bring people together on this show.
I think so.
It's what we do.
We try. But
I was trying to find
we're nothing if not all inclusive. So
that's true. You guys are talking about cupcakes. Do you remember the Crumbs baking store that used to just sell, those enormous cupcakes?
Yep.
Is that the one that used to be in Clifton?
They were everywhere.
Yeah, there was a bunch of them.
They were a national chain.
Huge.
You'd get a cupcake and you could have it. You could split it for like 6 people. Like one cupcake would feed 6.
You could eat it for 2 days yourself.
Or just me.
Right. And I remember one time I think I brought my sister when I was still talking to her. I brought her we brought a tray of these Crumbs cupcakes.
Okay.
And I'm not kidding. I think we all had sugar high by the time we finished just one of them. We cut it up into pieces and we were just like, oh my God, who could eat an entire tray of this? It's
That's
insane.
great.
I had a few saw, but I just housed 2 cupcakes
I saw
nothing. And I'm going to resist eating the black and white.
Because you don't want to make Al jealous?
No, because I don't need the sugar high. I'm gonna have enough damn carbs from the beers we're gonna be drinking.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I would think you're already on a sugar high the way that you devoured those.
Oh, it's getting there, and then there will be a crash, and tonight might be this. Mark your calendars, folks. Tonight might be the second time Dave falls asleep on the show. This time would be from a sugar crash.
Sugar crash.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, the first time was just really drunk.
At least you didn't have to wait on a line to get that cupcake.
That's
no. This was at Zaro's in Port Authority, so I can't imagine how many flies landed on it before it got into my face.
Oh,
actually, no, they keep them covered. Actually, they do keep them covered.
They do. Yeah.
There you go.
But not the white, black and white.
Not the white. Yeah.
No, they're just sitting out there in the open, so there's probably fly vomit all over those.
Lovely.
But there's no. But
good to know.
Yeah, but that's the whole reason I won't eat like boardwalk pizza, because that stuff is just laced in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's protein. It makes you stronger.
Yeah, that's all.
Right, exactly.
How much protein in fly vomit?
I don't know, and somebody's done a study. I guarantee it's.
I'm sure they have, and probably got the government probably gave them a couple $1 million to study that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, what are you drinking there, Samurai?
I'm gonna mix it up on you here, because after eating the cupcakes, I can't really go to an ESB. Mm-hmm. That's not going to work. So I went to the because we just talked about Old Heights being their 3rd anniversary. Mm-hmm. John and I were down there. James was down there. Mike Kivovitz was down there with some of his NJCB people. He was down there with his wife and kids. His daughter was doing karaoke. It was a lot of fun.
Yep. Yeah, he wanted to do he wanted to do several times. Asked me to go up and do Ebony and Ivory with him.
Yeah, I forget what he wanted James to do with him, and he wanted me to sing with him as well. And we're all like,
I think he wanted James to do Paradise by the Dashboard Light with him.
Oh, that would have been hilarious! I would have paid money for that.
Oh my God!
Mm-hmm.
But we all basically told him to leave us alone. We're drinking.
In fact, I honestly think we just never answered him. He just kept asking.
No, James and I answered him very, very.
The first time I answered him, but then I didn't answer him after that.
But it was a good time. They released 4 beers. I bought 3 of them because, as John knows, I'm not a huge wit fan. Mm-hmm. But they released 3. This is one of them. It's called Let's Dance. Mm-hmm. Cool. It's the Strong American Porter with coconut. So it's the only of the 3 that I had that you can actually follow a cupcake with, I think.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the best bet there. Al, you drink anything?
Nice.
Water.
That's it. There you go.
Doctor's orders.
There you go.
Well, not really, but it is a school night. I was drinking last night at the Asteroid City movie.
Yes, I saw that. That was great. Yeah. Great.
The lager. Let me tell you something. The lager from Dogfish Head's fantastic.
Is it?
It's really good. It's apparently a limited release. I think they're going to have it. They're going to have it at the Alamo Draft Houses in New York. You can get it at Italy in the Flatiron District. I don't know if you can get it in stores. It's
wait!
going to be on tap.
Italy in the Flatiron District.
Dave, do you know where that is, Dave?
That's the first floor of my building.
There you go.
I just have to go downstairs, walk outside, walk around, and boom, I'm right in there.
So there you go. So
that's where I get my coffee every morning.
There you go. Fair
okay.
Enough.
I just swap coffee out of lager.
And then they'll have it on tap, obviously, at the Dogfish Head tap rooms. They're not really sure if they're going to do it in a widespread release. I think it's just going to be limited to now. Apparently, I interviewed Mariah Calagione. She's going to be on the show this week during the Suds and Duds segment. I did a couple minutes with her. They were gracious enough to let me interview her for a couple minutes. And they know the owners of the Alamo Drafthouse Theaters. That's how the whole connection happened. And they basically said, we want you to make a beer for the movie. Wes Anderson found out about it, and he said, oh, that's great. Do that. And they had the whole entranceway when you walk in was all done up like Asteroid City.
Nice.
So you could take pictures. They gave us all a lunchbox we could take home with a little thermos in it. The bar was set up like
really?
Asteroid
That's cool.
City. Yeah. You know what? I actually have.
There you go.
Let's see the thermos. Let's see the thermos. Does it clip in?
No, it doesn't.
Remember
awesome.
the ones? Remember the ones that had the spring clip?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I had those.
Oh, yeah.
A keychain, an alien keychain.
Very
Nice.
They gave you a postcard.
Actually, that keychain looked like Kivovitz.
And then
Pulls an apple for the teacher out of there. I'm going to be psyched.
no. So it's pretty cool. It was a fun event.
And a bologna sandwich. And,
no bologna sandwich. But the cool part was right before the film, Wes Anderson and Jason Schwartzman came into the theater and talked with us for 5 minutes. Which was really cool. Which
awesome.
I knew Wes Anderson was going to be there. I didn't realize that Jason Schwartzman was going to be there. So it was really
good.
That's
cool.
It was a lot of fun.
Hey, it's another Jason's birthday today.
It is another Jason's birthday today. So happy birthday to Mr. Jason Voorhees.
This is his birthday today.
It is.
Wow, look at that.
Happy birthday.
The data extraction from classic horror movies.
Exactly.
He's at work right now.
Exactly. And it's funny. I'm
gonna go check to see if my doors are locked. Be right back.
You check to see. Yeah, really. All of a sudden,
see a guy with a mask.
If there's right out of the darkness right there on the side, just like this hockey mask comes out, that'd be great.
That door opens right there.
There you go. I'm hold that thought for a second. I'm drinking a Ross Raritan rye.
Very nice.
Raritan red rye. I have to make sure you say it's red because it's pretty friggin' red.
It's pretty friggin' red.
Yeah,
it's good beer.
It's good beer.
Very good.
So
now, Al, do me a favor.
I just want to say really quick with Jason. My great aunt, my mother's aunt, had a farm up in.
And on this farm, they had
a dog, right? Up in Hope, New Jersey, and now they filmed Friday 13th at Novi Bosco at the Boy Scout camp.
That was Crystal Lake.
And that was but there was a Camp Crystal Lake, which was across the street from my aunt's farm.
Okay.
So they took the name of that. They took the name of that camp and used it at Novi Bosco. So anyway,
there you go.
And a lot of the beginning scenes where they're driving in, they're driving into that road that the actual real Camp Crystal Lake is on. The church in the beginning of it, that was just down the road from my great aunt's farm. Anyway, just want to point that out.
But I want to ask Al something. Mm-hmm. Say again. I caught this a little early. I don't want to make sure I heard it right. Say again the common name for H2O.
Water.
Okay, you said it in New Jersey that time. Okay, last time I could have sworn you said water.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can reenact it. Water.
No, see, that's the Jersey way. Thank you. Okay, you got me worried there for a second that you weren't a Jersey boy, because it's the way we say it. It's water. It's WERTER.
I got a seltzer here, which is carbonated water.
Water.
That's
how you can always tell someone's from
water.
Jersey.
It's not water. It's not water either.
It's not water.
It's not water either.
It's water.
It's water.
Water. Right.
Just checking.
What's that city that's in northern Jersey? It's in Essex County, like eastern Essex County,
Newark,
where the airport is. Yeah,
Newark.
It's well,
it's one syllable.
It's Newark, but it's Newark.
Newark. Nanu.
Anyway,
Newark. Speaking of Jersey, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
We've got some news. You can see Johnny's banner. There's so much beer news, not enough brats.
Right.
That's your fault.
I got to go buy more brats. I know.
You're out of brats. You ate them.
I'm out of brats. I did. I ate them all on Sunday. That's the problem.
That's because you're a spoiled brat.
Right. Well, I'm spoiled with brats, but there you go.
The good news is obviously in the New Jersey legislature, the bill got out of committee in the Senate, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now there's 2 more. What is it? It goes to the assembly first for the vote, and then I guess the Senate for the vote, and then it goes to Murphy's desk. So look, there's 2 weeks left of the legislative session. My guess, yes, I think they will. I've talked to a couple of people who have spoken to their legislators, and they've basically said, yeah, this thing is pretty quick, fast track, that it's gonna get there. The fact that it was a 5-0 vote in the Senate is no surprise to me. I mean, Senator Gopal is a huge supporter of craft breweries. I'm very happy that it went 5-0.
You see him in photos of craft breweries all the time.
We'll have him at the grand openings. We'll have him at the grand opening. So
yeah, he's a good guy. I've interviewed him before, and he's just he gets it. He understands the brewery business. He understands the economic impact for the brewery. So it's a huge deal. I have a feeling that I don't think it's going to get done by the end of this week, but I think certainly by the end of next week, I think it'll get done. Yeah. I don't think it's going to go to the wire. There's other stuff on the governor's plate that's probably going to go to the wire, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was a delay in signing everything for the budget. But I think this law will pass and get on his desk, and he will sign it. So,
and not for nothing, everybody out there who has been paying attention, who's been on all the craft beer sites, who have signed all of the what you call it? I just lost my word. The
petitions.
That's the word. My God,
that's all right.
I told you,
sugar.
No more thinking.
It's the sugar. It's the cupcake.
No
the cupcakes.
Who signed on petitions? Thank you. There was a lot of pressure put on your lawmakers,
and you got to keep contacting your lawmakers. It's not done yet. It has to get there and get voted on. But the fact that it's out of both committees without too much of a delay is huge news. So, I mean, there's a good chance that this is going to pass, and that's great.
Yeah. Let them know that you all feel that the current state is unacceptable.
Yeah, I think they get it. I really think they get it. Finally, after enough time, they've finally gotten it. So that's good.
Agreed. It's about time. Took long enough.
100%.
Exactly.
100%. But then the other big Jersey news.
Other big news is even more interesting.
Mm-hmm. So
curious, sir.
Yeah, so Flying Fish was supposed to be acquired by Cape May Brewing. Right. They had announced the deal at the beginning of May. I had reached out to Cape May. I'm good friends with most of the people down there, and said, look, I'd love to get Ryan on to talk about it, discuss the deal, et cetera, et cetera. We talked about it on this very program about things, that they could do, expand the exit series, start from the Parkway at 0 and work your way up and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And they told me, yeah, sure. We'll we should be done by the end of the month. We'll call you. We'll set up a time. Okay, great. So the third week of May, I reached out to Cape May and just said, hey, any chance Ryan's available next week to talk, 10 minutes, et cetera, et cetera. Not a word, silence. So that got me a little worried. I said, okay, they're usually not like that. They're very responsive. You don't hear anything. Then all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, here comes River Horse and Duclaw merging. And that was the one that sort of took everybody out of left field. Nobody expected River Horse to be acquiring Duclaw.
No.
But in some ways, it does make sense when you look at that deal, because River Horse is going to make the beer in Jersey. It's cheaper to ship it from Jersey as opposed to bringing it up from Baltimore. And Baltimore's in a lot of trouble when it comes to breweries. I mean, Flying Dog shipped their beer up to New York. Yep. You got Duclaw shipping their beer up to Jersey. Guinness closed. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, that's huge stuff. But anyway, that's a deal that sort of made sense, even though people were kind of scratching their heads, like River Horse, Duclaw, like it doesn't really. But when you peel back the layers of the onion, it actually does make sense.
It does make sense. They have the room at River Horse. They have 100-barrel tanks. They can make the product. They have enough space in there to add even more if they need to. So
right. And from what I'm hearing is Duclaw is going to pull back part of their distribution footprint. So they were in, I think, 25 or 26 states, and they were in a couple places around the world. I think they're going to pull back some of the state distribution stuff. I think they're going to kind of narrow it down to maybe 12 to 15, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's where they're looking. They're going to pull out of states not really doing well. They'll pull out and concentrate on the places where they're making decent sales. But then today we get the news that Cape May has decided not to move forward with the deal with Flying Fish, that they've nixed the deal, saying that, the numbers aren't working. And if you read between the tea leaves, I'm wondering what's going on here, because I heard from a very reliable source that Cape May wanted to buy Duclaw last year. Couldn't get the deal done. Now they're trying to buy Flying Fish. Didn't do the deal. Why? Is it a money thing? I can't imagine that it's a money thing. Right. They have Cape Beverage. They're distributing other beers from other companies. They're obviously making a piece of the pie from that, in addition to their own sales from Cape May.
Sure.
So there's something going on here. Why this thing didn't happen? Why they decided to pull the plug? And in some of the forums, one of the guys who apparently works for Cape May or used to work for Cape May basically said that somebody changed the baseline of the deal in the 11th hour. All About Beer, who broke the story, they said maybe they should talk to Flying Fish management. So I'm wondering if Flying Fish came back and said, hold on a second, we want to do things this way. And they said, no, we're not going to do that.
Could have looked at the terms of the deal from, River Horse technically didn't buy Duclaw, right? They merged. Right. They merged of sorts. Obviously, River Horse is going to be getting, it's not like they're just contract brewing their beer, right?
They're brewing their beer.
Right. It's a merger of sorts, right? But it's not. They didn't buy them out. Duclaw still exists. It's an entity. So
correct.
Flying Fish was not going to. Cape May was going to. Whether they left at Flying Fish or not, it was still a Cape May owned, right?
Is Duclaw's brewery still going to be there?
Yes. Yeah. From what I'm hearing, the brewery is going to stay there, but they're not going to be brewing the beer from there, or they'll brew some limited stuff there. They're not
the tap room. So the tap room staying there.
Tap room stays
with one-offs and seasonals.
Right, and probably a couple of their staples. Again, they do have a brewer there. I can't imagine that guy's losing his job completely. Maybe they're just going to, whatever. But it basically shifts the onus of most of the production stuff and distro stuff to River Horse.
Right.
So
right. And then it allows River Horse to be a little more different. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Now the Cape May, that deal has fallen through. Maybe Cape May will look to acquire Heavy Seas if everyone's running out of Baltimore.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I think Heavy Seas has done very well.
They're doing well. That's just a joke, not a conjecture.
Yeah, they make good stuff. And I believe their tap room has a restaurant. There's other assets there that they have that is not that much of a problem. But this whole thing with Cape May and Flying Fish, like if they were going to eliminate Flying Fish completely, I wonder if Flying Fish was like, oh no, wait a second, we want to continue the brand. Like, we just want you to buy. Like, again, I don't know what the financials were going to be. I don't know who was. Obviously, Cape May was not hurting in terms of money. No. They're making money. Flying Fish wasn't.
It would have been a mistake for them to discontinue the Flying Fish brand. There's visibility there. And as we talked about, if they expanded the Exit series, I really think that would have revitalized the brand, gotten people excited. So if that was part of the deal, then Cape May made an error.
Right. Somebody made a comment today that they loved the Exit series. They were trying to get every exit or whatever in this and that, and then suddenly it stopped. They shifted things to 6-packs and this and whatever. So it was a good concept. They just couldn't see it all the way through, and then they started to have. It was probably right after that they started having their issues, whether it was financial or otherwise. Before the pandemic.
It's even the Exit series that they brought into the 12-ounce bottle format. Even those lost something, right? Because Redfish was the Rutgers beer,
right?
And it didn't scale down to the smaller bottle well,
right?
It's not as a bad beer. It's just nowhere near as good as the Exit series was.
But you know what? Too, I'm sorry, John. I think that the concept of having it in big bottles was the right move. I think they were at the very tail end of when breweries started to shift from those big bottles to, small, going to 6-pack bottles and et cetera, et cetera. The cans hadn't really made an explosion yet, but I think people were like, I can't drink all of this in one sitting. It's too big.
Please don't say exploding cans.
Oh, sorry.
I had an incident.
Cans were exploding, right?
I had an incident last week.
So I think it was poorly executed.
It was. That's a big problem too. And to your point, Dave, I don't they had to do something to the recipe, right? Because I mean, if they're brewing a beer that's going into 750 milliliter bottles, and then they decide to stop that and put it in 12-ounce bottles, it should be the same beer.
Should be.
There should be no reason that the beer tastes any different whatsoever.
It's not like one's bottle conditions, the other isn't. They're both capped.
Right. So it had they had to be changing whether it was, and I'm speculating here. I certainly don't know. But they had to be changing ingredients, changing this. Maybe it wasn't even like a matter of cheapening out, if you want to call it that, or whatever. Maybe they just decided to let's adjust this. Let's take it from an exit series, calling it Redfish. Let's put it in smaller bottles. We need to adjust it a little bit.
But they may have adjusted the recipe to make it more commercially viable. Maybe
that's a possibility
too. Margin on the bombers was probably maybe slim, because the grain bill may have been exorbitant,
right,
as far as the different types of grains they use. And so when they decided to go to mass production of it, let's do a mass-produced beer,
right?
And started cutting corners on the grains to increase their margin.
Not only that, yeah, exactly. Just because, and also because of they want to get the beer in front of more people. Only a certain amount of people are going to buy bombers, right? So they wanted to sell a lot more of the 6-packs of the beer. So,
but correct me if I'm wrong. They were late to the game when it came to hazies. When hazy started to really explode, a lot of breweries shifted immediately. I think the holdouts were really, Flying Fish for certain.
Yeah.
Carton and Cane were sort of the holdouts. I think they were the last to really start doing the hazies. And when they did them, did them
unless you count Boat as a hazy.
No, I don't think you can.
It's not a hazy any IPA.
I don't count Boat as a hazy. No,
but it is hazy.
No.
They were almost beat by Dave to the hazies.
Yeah, I mean, but that was a miscalculation on their part. It's the same thing when Sam Adams missed the boat on IPAs when they decided, no, we're not going to do this. It's a flash in the pan. And it ended up, for them, it ended up working out by merging with Dogfish and, and working all those details out. But
even Rebel, when they released Rebel, that was a good beer.
Yep. Right. But they were too late. Everybody else was doing, their version, and everyone was like,
especially if you're in Massachusetts.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So by then it was,
if you're late to the game in Jersey with hazies, you're way late to the game in Massachusetts.
Yeah, because Treehouse, Trillium have already sucked up the market.
Well, no, not Sam. Not doing hazy. I'm talking about just straight IPAs with Sam.
Yeah. But even then,
they weren't doing any of them, and what they were putting out were terrible.
They didn't make any IPAs any IPAs
until Rebel.
Until Rebel.
See what I did there?
Right.
Yeah. But they weren't. They weren't. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. No, back to Flying Fish was way late to the game when hazies. I mean, they had the right.
And by then they were having financial problems anyway. So by then it was too late. Everyone was like,
we talked about it on that last show when the news first broke back in April. But with that, and we all know Chris McMahon. He was he was the face of Flying Fish in New Jersey. There was a Flying Fish event.
What, John? On my way out of Old Heights, I drove by Tavern on the Lake. Guess who was outside changing something on the front?
Chris.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, there's Chris.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you took 33 all the way back.
No. Well, I jumped on the
turnpike.
The pike.
Yeah. But in any event, he was face and he was let go. And so something was going on then, and this was before the pandemic. This was
2018, 2019.
Yeah, late 2018. He was let go. So it's whatever was started then. That's 5 years almost. So
right. So I mean, given the pandemic, given the fact that they probably qualified for certain business loans and stuff, or they got some PPP money or whatever, they've weathered the storm. But now where do they go from here? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Cape May pulling out of this deal, they're fine. I mean, on the face of it.
Mm-hmm.
Cape May, as sad as they are probably not to get it in the production and, all the other stuff that they needed. I think from their viewpoint, it's okay. We're saving a little money. Let's search out for the next thing. But you're 0 for 2 now.
Right.
You go to another brewery. How are they going to trust that you're actually going to complete the deal?
Right.
With Flying Fish now, what do? They were already in dire straits. nobody is really carrying them outside of their tap room and maybe
there's
20 accounts.
And there's no money for nothing or anything.
Right. So what's the next move for them? Are they going to end up folding? Forget whatever laws get passed, by the end of this month. Those things aren't going to help them if nobody's coming into the brewery.
Mm-hmm. No.
So that's a big problem. And if they decide to just close up shop, that's a big loss. I mean,
that's a big loss.
It's been around for a long time.
That's a big loss for the state. A big loss for the state. Yeah. It really is.
And maybe Coastal Brew Works can acquire them.
We can.
Hey, Coastal Fish Brew Works.
Coastal Fish.
Hey, wait a second. You've got fish. You got coastal. You've already both have some marine elements in your names.
Flying Coastal Fish Beer Works.
And John, since Coastal Brew Works will be right off the Parkway anyway.
Sure.
You can do the Parkway series.
We can do the Parkway. We'll start with exit 105. Right.
And then branch out
in each direction, little by little.
Right.
And as you get north, the beers will just get continuously worse.
Wow.
Smoggier.
So I was going to say, you go north, there's stouts and porters.
Right.
You go south,
you crispy lagers and right.
Oh no, because remember.
That makes sense, Al. I like
remember the Parkway, and Al knows this. Al knows this better than I do. The Parkway goes through Linden and Elizabeth and all kinds of interesting odors.
Oh yeah.
As does
like
the
keep your window shut.
Right.
Right.
The other day, I'm driving and I'm on the turnpike and I'm just approaching Linden. I'm just approaching the refinery, right?
Yeah, that's where it starts.
And exit 13. And I always have my own. And I had the AC on, right? So I'm like not even thinking about it. I got the AC on, and I don't know what possessed me to look down. I looked down at the AC.
It's not on recycle.
It wasn't on recycle, and I always have it on recycle. It wasn't. I'm like, thankfully, I saw it now, and I just reached over really quick. That would have sucked because then it would have been in the car and in the filter. I'm like,
right, good move.
I thought you were going to say that the beers were going to get slower to drink the further north on the Parkway you get.
Slower to drink. Yeah. They're going to get more and more viscous. They're just going to
very viscous.
Lop out of there.
Right.
It's like that Saturday Night Live routine with Bill Murray when the ketchup goes all over the plate and then he opens up the bottle of swill and it's like pouring out like pulled out of the shores of Lake Michigan.
I mean, it's sad that the deal fell through. Obviously, there was something going on at the last minute there that it didn't happen. I heard from other sources a few weeks ago about some financial stuff. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's a combination of both. I don't know, but it's a sad day that didn't happen. And I know some people are like, oh, I'm glad it didn't happen, but I'm like, no, it's a sad day. We talked about it last time. When was the last time Flying Fish was relevant?
This isn't something. This is right. This is something that Flying Fish needed. Whether Gene and anybody at Flying Fish was going to still be involved or not, the brand needed this to survive. Really, I mean, I think that's my personal opinion.
Their only relevance right now is a news story.
Right.
Correct. 100%.
Well, I have my second, John.
What did you have? What'd you open?
Well, as we mentioned, Mike Kivovitz was at that third anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he was there is NJCB, who are probably even bigger collab whores than Coastal Brew Works.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. They did a collab with them for the third anniversary, NJCBGB.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Like that. See, 315. That was the address, right?
And I'm drinking the same thing. So
there we go.
Nice.
So,
Jay,
I got a really classy glass, though.
Very nice. Yeah. Very classy glass. I'll ask you. I'll ask Samurai first. What does CBGB stand for?
Oh God, I knew this at one point, and I think if you walked into that club, any member you had got erased. I can't remember. I really cannot.
All right, Al.
I don't. I've been there plenty of times, but I never really remember.
I did know it at one point, and I've completely forgot it.
My band actually played at CBGB's several times, and but I once.
Oh, I just looked it up. I just looked it up, and it makes that's now.
Once I made sure I stayed sober enough to remember what it stands for. CBGB is Country Bluegrass and Blues. It's actually Country Bluegrass Blues, and OMFUG is and other music for uplifting gourmandizers.
Gourmandizers. Well, that's
CBGB OMFUG. Country, bluegrass, blues, and other music for uplifting gormandizers. And
I always thought that was never mind.
Oh yeah,
and that's OU812 too.
OU812, yeah.
Yes.
I like For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge better. But.
Yeah,
I
That's when I met the band. That's when I met the band for the first time from that album. That was was epic.
And that is a myth. That is not what it stands for.
Well,
it was not an acronym.
It stood for that on that album.
Yeah.
But anyway,
but the origin of that word is not from an acronym in English.
Right.
No, it's not.
Okay.
If anybody, common sense.
That word comes from fricken. It's a German word, fricken.
That's right.
To strike.
Fricken.
Fricken. Yeah, that's where that comes from. Anyway, so Flying Fish. Yeah,
not Fargan.
Not Fargan. Not
Fargan
Fargan either. Yeah,
this is Fargan War.
Fargan. Yeah, that was a good movie. And Johnny Dangerously. And yeah, gee, does he talk like that every day, Al?
Once in a while, he'll drop some references. And I mean, today we were talking about obviously Dead Heat because of Treat Williams passing away at 71.
Right.
That sucked. He was pretty shook up about it. A lot of people were. I mean, that was horrible what happened to him. Motorcycle accident. He was riding his motorcycle up in Maine. Apparently, car turned, they collided. Not good. So
not good.
The motorcycle always loses.
Yes.
Horrible.
So,
that sucks. He was a good. I liked him. He was good.
Good Joe said they got along very well on Dead Heat. They had a lot of fun together. They really liked one another. So nice, good stuff. But shame.
Yeah, but all right. So to wrap Flying Fish up, hopefully, whatever. Well, I mean the words will come out. Stories will come out. Whether some of them are right, some of them are wrong. Something will be right. We won't know what it is, maybe. But whatever happened with the deal is one thing. But on another note, I just hope somehow Flying Fish, however it may happen, figures out a way to keep the brand alive.
In my opinion, I think this is the death knell for Flying Fish because without some other source of what's that?
I don't disagree with you. No.
Yeah, I think without some source of revenue or funding or whatever, or a complete change, and they had been losing people and laying people off and
an acquisition.
Right. I can't see them existing the way they are right now. And I don't think anybody else is going to come in from the outside and purchase them. I mean, somebody was saying big beer. Why would Budweiser, Molson, or
they don't buy failing brands.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So, I just can't say. And, we're seeing breweries closing all over. I mean, it's happening more now. I mean, there's a brewery in Florida that just announced they're closing. There's a couple places around the country. It is getting much more difficult to continue to run a business like this, especially when margins are high.
Yep.
The war in Ukraine. You have all these other issues that are going on.
Shelf space is at a premium.
100%.
And
100%.
that was COVID.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Absolutely. For every state. Now, I mean, New Jersey, we've talked about it before. We know why the shelf space is the way it is. But yeah, I mean, you have to have a good model. You have to have rely on your tap room. That's why this information that's going on, the legislation that's going on with the state right now is so very important in New Jersey. You really have to have a good tap room model and decent distribution and hold your own for a while. And then when the curves and the peaks and valleys happen, jump on something, not too much, because that's a lot of people's problem. There'll be a peak, they'll bite off more than they can chew, and then the valley will happen and they'll be screwed.
And I also think some of the problem, and this is not this is nothing on the guys who own breweries. There are some who are forward thinking and sort of, okay, I see this coming, let me plan ahead by buying my grain way ahead of time, or buying my cans way ahead of time, and they have the space to store those things. A lot of breweries don't. Especially smaller ones, in New Jersey. I'm just talking New Jersey, but
sure.
You have some forward-thinking people that think ahead and buy stuff ahead of time to save themselves some money. But for a lot of guys, they're buying month to month or maybe 2 months out. So when something happens and there is this downturn or slowdown or there's a shutdown or whatever, they're really not prepared for it because they just don't have the finances for it. Their credit is stretched too thin. Whatever the case may be. I think those that have stayed. I don't want to say methodical, but I'll bring up a perfect example. Wet Ticket in Rahway. Mm-hmm. I love Tim and Al. They're very measured in what they do, and I think it's sustained them for the amount of time that they've been in business. Mm-hmm. They don't get too crazy about stuff. They keep everything within their, this is what we make. This is our wheelhouse. It's good. We have support. We're going to leave it there. Right. I think that's a good model that people have for a brewery like Flying Fish, who's been around for a long time and has a much bigger space to deal with and, all the other stuff. It's too late now to pull back like that.
Well, there's a couple of things going on here. You take the Wet Ticket model. You're looking at staying contained and letting that local following, your tried and trues, keep you going. You brew to the consumption. Right. Then there's the other model. And this is one thing, John, in the equation that you put out there as to what makes a successful brewery. You forgot one very, very important thing as to what makes a successful brewery. Hype.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hype might be number one for a lot of breweries. There's some breweries that are putting stuff out where I drink it. I'm like, I don't get it. Mm-hmm. Why is there a line outside for the can release? This is the same beer they always brew. They just mixed up the hops a little bit.
That's it. Want to throw this comment up really quick. Pete Kulos just wrote in, sad ending to a New Jersey icon for
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed.
Absolutely, Pete. Definitely. Yep. Totally agree.
Yep. 100%. But you know what, Samurai, to your point, you're right. Lines out the door for other half. Their beer is good, but a lot of times it's some of the same stuff sort of just kind of jumbled around. The whole battle between Treehouse, Trillium. You've got your Trillium fans, you got your Treehouse fans.
Mm-hmm. And I love those that are treats. Both, yes, both.
I love them both.
I
think I'll be honest. I think Trillium does a better job with their stouts, porters, the darker stuff.
Oh hell yeah!
Than Treehouse does. But Treehouse is hazies,
and now Treehouse
they're the industry standard.
And now Treehouse is lager game.
Oh, phenomenal!
They have a phenomenal lager
game. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
They make really good beer that people don't realize.
The Grodzisky we had on the Smoke Beer Show back in January.
Oh my God, that was so good. Right. Schilling's, I like Schilling's better.
Schilling
has been doing it longer than they have.
Right, and Schilling's was a little bit more of a special release too. It was
a special release,
right? So,
they
were both fantastic though.
But there's a third model there. So you've got those who have stayed small, stayed local. That can sustain a brewery. You've got those who are living off the hype, right? We've got one in New Jersey who lives off the hype as well. I don't want to disparage any, and maybe it's not even disparaging, but Magnify lives off their hype.
Yep.
Right? They live off their hype. But then there's that third model where the product matches the hype. Mm-hmm. This now in Jersey, you're looking at Kane. Mm-hmm. Where they put something out. They put it out on a platform and it sells out in seconds. You have to keep trying to refresh to get in to buy it. Mm-hmm. There's lines. They just redid their tap room. I think not advantageously. The only advantageous thing is they have 2 more bathrooms.
However, I was just over there talking to Glenn the other day, and they are going to reopen the beer garden too.
Thank God. That was the
that's right. I thought it was opening this week.
This
week or next week?
They did want to open
the outdoor one or the in brewery one.
The outdoor one. No, they're not. They're never going to have anybody in the production area again. It was the outdoor, the big tent on the side of the building. It's open right there.
When you walk in from the parking lot, right there.
When you walk in, it's not going to be where it was all the way on the other side. It's going to be in the first space too.
Right where the selling
right, yeah,
got it.
Still there.
It's still there.
But they were going to open this weekend. But I believe the either the tasting room manager, marketing manager, somebody was on vacation this week, so they decided to just get everything done, and they're going to open next weekend.
Well, the ebb and flow of that brewery, first of all, is awful. The traffic, the movement of traffic through it of the new tap room, I think is awful. The acoustics are horrendous. You can hear everybody talking all at once. And it's, for me, it was one of those people who did not grow up in an Italian household and used to it. It becomes overwhelming. It's
a cacophony of noise.
And this is the amazing thing. If you are in an Italian household and there's a party going on, there can be 15 different conversations going on. You could have one aunt on that side of the room with your nephew on that side of the room. They're talking to each other across 10 conversations, and everyone can hear each other.
And everybody knows every conversation that's going on. You spin and answer somebody on this one, and then answer somebody in that one, and then answer somebody.
And if somebody disparages you from the other side of the room,
there's a fight.
And
the dinner roll is hitting them in the head.
Exactly.
It's the way this works.
Or
Good times.
Or shoe.
Good times.
I grew up in a very, very small family.
But everybody hugs at the end of the night, though.
Most of the time,
right. That's true.
That's the wine speaking.
Well, either way.
Hey, that works.
Or the grappa.
Oh, God, I love my grappa.
I haven't had grappa since October.
But I grew up in a very, very small family where most of the time we weren't even speaking to each other. So you can imagine the culture shock when I got into these situations.
Sure. Right.
You know what? I can understand that if it's too noisy. I mean, you want to be able to carry on a conversation, but not have to be shouting over one another. I mean, I haven't made it to the new tap room yet. I do want to get down there. But I think you're right about that. I think but I think at the end of the day, I don't think Michael really cares. I think he's like, all right, we got this room. Deal with it.
He's selling
his beer. That's it.
And he's selling a lot of the beer, and the beer is great. So again, this is like I said, this is the third model. The local brewery, local following. They're not looking to expand. They're not distributing far and wide.
Right.
You've got the one that's looking to distribute far and wide. They're living off their hype. Are they putting out a good product? Yes. Are they putting out a product that deserves the amount that they're having to produce to sustain? No. Then you get the Canes of the world, the Trilliums, the tree
I think
houses.
you can throw Source in that conversation.
You can throw Source in
that conversation.
Well, yeah, because Source can't meet their demand right now.
Right, but the thing about them is their tap room. People want to go there, and they've expanded little pieces of the outside so that they could keep things moving more, and at least keep people, going in there. It's still a destination for people.
It is.
It's still a nice place to go and just enjoy the day and
especially if you like cider, donuts, and pie, you just walk next door.
And there's a distillery right there too.
And there's a distillery which I've never walked in because I want to drink too much at Source. I don't want to go to the distillery, and I got a long drive home. I'm not 10 minutes from there like you are, John.
No. But that's understandable. But
and I can always get Carrie there because I'm like, hey, we're going to go to the Source. She's like, pie. She associates the Source with pie.
On that note, I want to roll back and correct myself. Sometimes when you're running a business and you're putting some stuff together, one day blends into the next. I was speaking with Glenn last week, and that was the date that last week the taproom manager was away. Just occurred to me. So there's opening this weekend.
Okay.
The outdoor space.
But Johnny and I are more than likely will be at Icarus.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'm trying to get there on the early side because I'm alone this weekend for Father's Day weekend. My family is heading up to Pennsylvania. It's my niece's birthday.
We'll all be your kids, Al.
There you go.
That's fine.
There you go.
So I'm not sure if I'm bringing the dog with me or not. So if I don't bring the dog, I can't stay there that long. Maybe an hour or two.
I guarantee you, if you bring the dog, John and Jess show up, and Carrie and I show up, you'll have dog watchers.
Jess and Carrie will be playing with the dog, and
the only thing is, before you leave, make sure you know where your dog is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, you may not.
They may walk away. I've seen your dog. I may walk away with the dog.
Yeah, he's we've nicknamed him the grease licker now because anytime I cook outside, he's right at the grill when it's over because he wants the grease. So he's the grease licker.
Grease licker.
There you go.
Okay.
Grease licker.
That's not really a nickname. That's just a descriptor.
It's a job title. I mean,
exactly. But yes, I will be there. I've seen the tap list already. It looks great. I'm very excited. I think I love the fact that he's like, we have all these lagers. Oh, and yacht juice in case anybody wants an IPA.
Well, you see now that can be an issue because I not that it had to do with lagers, but I went to a bottle share once that Jay was at, and he actually brought a 6 of yacht juice, so everybody was able to have yacht juice as a side beer while they were drinking 15% barrel aged stouts all day.
This has happened before.
Oh yeah,
you're saying.
Oh yeah,
except rather than 50% stouts and barley wines, we're just drinking a whole lot of lager.
Right.
All right. So speaking of classic beers, shifting the conversation.
I already had it up. I was waiting.
Segueing.
Nice segue.
Yeah.
Good one. Well, I
sort of paid a big bucks.
Yeah, it's like you know what? You should be in the business or something.
I know.
Remind me to tell you the story of yelling at the host yesterday because he couldn't pronounce a word that was in front of him and spelled out phonetically. So
There you go.
There you go.
But you were the host.
No.
Okay.
I'm the guy behind the scenes who then got yelled at, and then we yelled at each other during the commercial, which was great.
My host did that to me once.
Yeah.
Once.
There was one joke from that he can never, ever use on the air.
No, that's true. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
right. You know what it is. He can never use it on the air. And it's one of the funniest lines from the movie because at the time it was not necessarily innocent, but it had no relevance.
Right. Okay.
Now it's got too much relevance. So anyway, so if anybody knows that movie, you know what we're talking about. We're not going to say it. So move on.
So going to the other side of the country in San Francisco, so you have Anchor Steam has now said that they are no longer. First off, they're no longer going to distribute outside of San Francisco.
Outside of California. That's it.
Outside of California.
Yeah, that's it.
And they are no longer going to be making their Christmas ale, which they've been making since 1975.
1975. They've been making it. This would have been the 48th year.
Hey, John.
I should correct that. They're going to make it within the brewery, but it's not going to be available anywhere else. So you can get it on tap at the brewery, but you won't be able to buy it anymore.
I did. Well, that's different because I did read that they were discontinuing even brewing Christmas.
So you're saying there is going to be a pilgrimage to Anchor every damn year to San Francisco.
Basically, they said from what I've gotten from the quote from Brewbound, the brand will be kept alive on tap at Anchor Public Taps.
Okay.
So
public
keep
taps
it in-house.
Public taps does it also mean the bars in the area?
I'm assuming that means distro within San Francisco.
So this is going to be a kid. So you're going to see a pilgrimage to San Francisco, just like when Pliny the Younger,
just like Pliny,
gets young, and somehow or another, Monk's Cafe will get a sixtel of Christmas beer.
Probably. So it's sad to see that they're not going to be distroing outside of California anymore.
However,
it doesn't surprise me. Sapporo acquired them a couple of years ago. The whole intention of Sapporo acquiring them was to push Sapporo more into America, right? So they wanted to use Anchor's facilities,
except for in the Pacific, not working except for in the Pacific Northwest.
Right. So they wanted to use Anchor's facilities to make more of the Sapporo beer and get it out there and obviously push Anchor. It didn't really happen, and for a good reason. Nobody was really buying Anchor anymore. I mean, really, where'd you really see Anchor anywhere?
Right.
I do see it, and
Trader Joe's.
I was telling John, and I'm really upset that I did not pick it up. I was in Hightstown. I went into the Bottle King, and I saw Anchor Porter, and I pointed out to Carrie, that is such a great beer. But I was there to get a bunch of other stuff, and I didn't pick it up, and now I want to go back and pick that up. Because Anchor Porter is one of the best porters in this country.
Right.
It is.
Go for it.
It's the same.
I would get it because you're not going to get it. So that deal, obviously Sapporo still owns them, but nothing really happened, which is why Sapporo bought Stone.
Right.
Because Stone has the infrastructure to make their beer on both ends of the country. You can do it in San Diego, and they can do it in Virginia, and get Sapporo out there. Plus, they're supporting Stone, which obviously lost money because they lost money on the German brewery. They were losing money on other stuff and market share. And then their distribution business, Stone's distribution business, Greg Cook is doing a great job with that in Southern California. He doesn't really need the brewery anymore as his bread and butter. So it was a good deal for Stone and Sapporo, not so much a good deal for Sapporo and Anchor Steam.
Right, absolutely. People know you watching the show for 3 years. You know damn well that one of my not my favorite, but one of my favorites, one of my top 3, 4, 5 Christmas ales is Anchor Christmas. And I've been drinking this beer for a very long time.
Do you still have the Magnum, Johnny?
I have at least a couple bottles of every year since 2017. And I still do have a Magnum of 2016.
There it is.
So I was actually planning on drinking this year.
But now put it up on the gray market. You'll make a fortune in a year.
There you go.
I'll wait a couple of years and sell this one. Yeah, exactly.
And John and I both are sitting on vertical flights.
Yep.
John's goes back, I think, about 3 years.
Mine goes back 6 years. It's 20. Yeah, well, it's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 6 years.
Mine actually might go back farther, actually. It's sitting right there.
Yeah. I mean, if you include the Magnum, I have 7 years worth of the beer. But I had more, but we all know what happened to that.
Right.
But in any event, we did a vertical in 2013. We did an 18-year vertical. 96 to 2013, we did an 18-year vertical, and it was fantastic. And I'll tell you, of those years, 1996 through 2013, the best year was 98. At that point.
Oh, really?
At that point, a 15-year-old beer was the best year. Was the best beer of those.
Wow.
There you go.
That's pretty cool.
There you go. What is that? 2013.
That's 2013.
2013. Nice.
I may go back further, but I don't want to, because I know this is pretty loud on my mic as I unwrap these things.
As you unwrap them, yeah.
So I'm not going to unwrap any, but I'm go back to at least 2013. It may go back to that might be the oldest one. I'm not sure, but yeah. So
fair enough.
That vertical flight has now become priceless.
Yep.
Not that I would sell it. This would be one of those things where you just invite your closest friends and loved ones. And by the end of it, you're all just hugging it out with tears in your eyes because you're never tasting this again.
That's it. I mean, another brewery maybe can brew something similar.
You got to take up the torch there, Johnny.
At least in New Jersey. But
first of all, find yourself a tree expert for your labels.
Okay.
But you might have to, start.
Well, I'm not gonna steal their brand.
No, you got to go straight out. You got to get permission to do it. And the thing is, since it's Coastal Brew Works, start with mangroves.
Why don't we just put kelp on the label instead of tree?
Kelp.
Start off with a mangrove.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
That'll work.
One year they did do a palm tree, did they not?
They did do a palm tree 1 year. Yeah.
So start off with a mangrove and go from there.
I think somewhere I know somebody that has a good mangrove picture.
You may, or
I may or may not.
Where is that the one where the water is like right here and it's the below and the above?
Below and above, yeah.
Yeah, he may have won an award for that one.
I think he might have,
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, well, he's got to brew the beer, so he can figure out what he wants to use.
You market it, he brews it.
Exactly.
Just shut up and brew, Matt.
Exactly.
That's
All right.
it.
So yeah, I mean it's sad. It's more sad news in beer, and that's on a national scale. You know what? I always enjoy drinking a good Anchor Steam.
Yeah,
the steam beer.
Yeah, I'm going to miss Anchor Steam.
And the porter was pretty decent. It was a pretty solid porter.
I love the porter. And here's the thing: as much as I'm going to lament missing that Christmas beer every single year, there is a small part of me that's a little relieved that I don't have to hunt it down every year.
But you have 9 others that you need to hunt.
Yeah, there's so many others because there's so many others that are adding to that repertoire.
Right.
But honestly, Anchor Steam that's the beer I think out of this, when all is said and done, when everything settles out and you get used to you're not getting that Christmas beer, I think Anchor Steam is going to be the one I'm going to miss the most. Now, just this year, Bolero Snort did a California Common. They did their steam beer.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty good.
It was pretty close to Anchor Steam. I got to give them.
It was pretty damn good.
But it's no Anchor Steam.
But it's not.
No.
It's just, and I think
Lions Roar in Westfield did a steam beer that was okay. But you don't see many people making California Common beers.
And no one's ever going to match that beer. So unless you're in California,
Anchor did the best that any brewery's ever going to do with a steam beer. Nobody's nobody. I don't care what anybody says, unless somebody makes something that's better than friggin' sliced bread. Nobody's ever going to be able to do what Anchor did with their steam beer.
No, right. And I think when the dust settles, I think that's the beer everyone's going to miss the most. To me, I'm looking at this as the only saving grace is it's not gone.
Right.
It's just far away.
Right.
Right.
Because to me, the biggest heartbreaking beer to me that is gone is Pilsner Urquell. The original is gone. The Iron Curtain came down, the wall fell, they upgraded all their equipment, ripped the heart out of that beer. No one will ever taste what Pilsner Urquell used to be. Don't get me wrong, I still love Pilsner Urquell. It's still a great beer. But what it was a spectacular beer. Mm-hmm. Just the ultimate in its style. Sure. And that's a shame because I can describe this beer to people, but there's no way they can taste it.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, we talked about when we were doing top threes. Here's my segue. We're doing
we don't want more topic before we segue into your segue.
Well, no, we don't have to go right there now. I'm just saying when we were talking top threes, we were talking about doing top three. One of the things I mentioned was doing top three beers that have been discontinued, not breweries that closed or beers that are gone because the breweries closed or anything like that. No. Beers that have been discontinued by breweries still in existence. And
well, we did that already.
We did something similar. We didn't do that exact thing, but
I think it was very similar because I remember the top of my list was Sierra's Autumn beer, Tumbler.
You did have Tumbler up there. Well, we kind of did a hybrid, right? Because I know I had
stick and jab.
Stick and jab from Heavyweight, right? Yeah. And Heavyweight's gone, so it wasn't specifically that, but it was.
I think it was the top three beers that you can't get anymore.
You can't get anymore. It was like just that kind of a thing. Not specifically discontinued, but yeah.
That's a good beer.
That is, it's pretty good.
It's actually a really good beer.
Pretty tasty. So, what was the other topic you were?
Well, this was something that you wanted to talk about, John.
Oh yeah.
It was these things.
Yeah, I actually.
Are those the biodegradable?
These are they're compostable, aren't they?
They're
yes,
those are compostable. Yeah.
Yep. You can throw them in recycling.
Yeah, and that's great. Well, you can throw the plastic ones in the recycling too, but the plastic ones, they still give off fumes.
Well, but a lot of them, if you throw those in there, they don't recycle in the machines. The machines aren't equipped to recycle them. That's why a lot of breweries are asking you to bring them back.
Yeah,
right. So they steam them
on over there.
Right, so steam them and use them again.
Right, they use them again.
Right,
they steam them to get rid of all the bacteria, and then they use them again. The ones you have are the ones that Old Heights is using.
And the only problem I have with this,
it's very difficult to get them out.
Yes.
Those particular ones that Old Heights uses, they're compostable and so forth.
But I think that was designed that way because there's some that they have that are very flimsy and the beer falls out.
Yeah. That's those.
So now this is from Human Robot, and it holds it, but you got to be careful. If you move it around too much, a can's falling out.
It's gonna pop.
Dissolver does the same thing. Dissolver's pretty much the same as a Human Robot, and then Triple Crossing has 6-packs of them too.
Oh, cool.
And these are very flimsy though.
But John,
but you got to be careful. But they're only holding 12-ounce cans too. With these 6-packs.
But do they go to 11?
These go to 11.
Okay.
These go to 11. Right, exactly. These do. Yeah, but I've been talking about this. We talked about this a couple of times. And then we brought it up again when we were, purchasing the beer at Old Heights on Saturday, which, by the way, did we actually say that? Alex, Brian, John, everybody at Old Heights.
Oh, can you wait till I pour my third beer? I just finished my beer.
Hold
on. Wait. Hold on.
Hold that thought. I'll talk slow.
No. I'll talk about because I'm pouring now. This is the ESB. So the ESB actually, believe it or not, will follow the black IPA pretty well. It'll sweeten it up. The following will sweeten up a little bit, but
so cheers to you guys. Cheers. Very nice glass.
You like that glass?
I like that glass. It's very cool.
Hey, product placement for our sponsor.
There you go. So, but yeah, I've been wanting to talk about these for a while because a lot more breweries are a lot. I can't say a lot. There's been a lot more. That doesn't mean a lot. It just means a lot more. I've noticed.
You're seeing the number grow.
Right, exactly. Are moving to these. I'm just curious because these are, the ones that Old Heights is using are just generic ones. They buy them and they use them, right? These are actual, they're
branded.
They're branded.
Yeah.
It's got Human Robot on it all the way around. The Dissolver ones, the Triple Crossing ones. So how much are they costing them per versus the Pack-Tex? Because Pack-Tex, I can tell you right now, they're about 10 cents a piece.
The question is if they're using it, does the cost get transferred to the consumer?
You would think so.
I mean, yes and no, right? I mean, they're not gonna. Let's put it this way: if their price to retail is X, it's not going to be X plus 10 cents, or 60 cents, because if there's 6 4-packs, because of that, it's all rolled into that. But that X is figured out with all of the costs involved, including those. So I mean, it's part and parcel of it.
It's
so
part of the overhead, so it becomes part of the margin, it becomes part of the equation, and your pricing model.
Sure. But yeah,
that reminds me, I got to reach out to Leon. He's a pricing expert. Anyway,
but it's interesting. It's I will have to say, I will say, and we will do the same thing when we open. Anybody wants to bring PackTex back, and it's not because we want to save money on PackTex. It's because we want to help you get them off the street.
Now here's the question.
So we'll recycle them for you. Same as
when you've got those, like anybody else. My collection of them right now is very multicolored. Like the flag that's very popular for the month of June.
Sure,
very multicolored. Some breweries like to use one specific color.
I have a stack right here.
Right. I there you go. Just like
that.
So, and there's an orange one in there. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. So Wet Ticket,
a black one back to orange.
So Wet Ticket, if you bring a black, a red, or a green one, they will give you, I think it's 10 cents off of each draft that you buy. They'll give you money back, up to $5. I think whatever it is. But
somebody's walking in there at cases, they're not getting a free.
Yeah. But you're going to get a little bit of a break in the. Oh, speaking of which, this is a shameless plug. I'm sorry, I because I just mentioned Wet Ticket.
Plug away.
But the entire month of June and first week of July, if you go into Wet Ticket and you buy a full pour of the Kolsch, $1 from that full pour goes to Brewery Strong.
Oh, that's awesome.
To help out. So
now hold on. Now there are 3 places that you are very well identified with.
Okay.
That you're at, and you've mentioned 2 of them already.
Okay.
The Source and Wet Ticket.
Right.
Do you want to mention the third? Is there any reason?
No, it's not necessary.
So there's okay. So
well, they have a new menu. That's about it.
Who has a?
They do have a very. I got to get there and eat because it looks fantastic. and they just tapped the other day. They just tapped a very, very, very delicious beer too. So
they did.
Yeah, it may have mango in it.
I think it has mango.
It may or may not have mango in it.
Just a little bit.
A little bit of mango.
The place we're talking about, because Al seems hesitant to say it, but it's in Clark.
Yes, it's in Clark. It's off the Parkway.
Right off the Parkway.
Right.
You can see it from the
Parkway.
Stop at Marshall's, do a little shopping. If you cut yourself, there's an urgent care right next door.
Right.
It's the money out of the bank at Citizens. You can grab a donut at Duck Donuts.
You can grab donuts right there.
Right in the same building as the
see,
And we're not going to give it away, but it rhymes with Paragon.
Right. I think we spend way too much time together.
Yeah,
and here's some proof of that. And here's some proof of that too. Here's the 3 of us at the sea 2 weeks ago. And here's the 3 of us the next morning at AC Beer.
Notice we're not
in 40-mile-an-hour winds and 50-degree weather.
And we're not squinting because we're stoned.
No, it's hungover. Because the wind is blowing.
The wind was insanity.
And notice
there was no wind in here that night.
No. See that picture at that point, I was probably 5 in.
2.5. So you're 1.75 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the other picture, John.
Yeah, right.
Unless the hat.
I was in pretty good shape there too.
You were in good shape there.
The hat I'm wearing did not move in that wind.
That did not move. Well, it's because you put Gorilla Glue on your head.
It's the same Gorilla Glue they use on these things.
On those things, right?
There you go.
That comes right. So.
That was a good time.
I do love it.
It was a good time. It was very good.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Although the funny part of AC Beer Fest was when my friend showed up at that I brought with me, when he showed up at the Icarus tent, Jason came over to him and he went, "You made it! You're alive!" He goes, "You were saying words." He goes, "I know. I was saying words that were out of order and not like what." He goes, "Yeah, and you made it."
Yeah. When when John
He's
and
not
I,
a lager guy, so he won't be coming with me on Saturday.
when John and I left the seed to go to the distillery next door, we could tell your friend was not feeling a hell of a lot of pain.
No. That's why Lyft is your best friend.
I think at one point he asked Matt to buy him a Corvette.
He did.
Interesting.
That was at Villain and Saint later on, though.
Forget. By then,
that's a lot of beer going into one small guy.
But no, he's not. He can hold his own. But by then, at Villain and Saint, I was giving him the seed collab. That's not his style of beer.
No,
right.
So he's an IPA guy.
He's an IPA guy. So yeah. If he comes on Saturday, he can just drink yacht juice.
Yeah.
See, the funny thing is, I was going to say, look, they got the one on tap, but then he might drink Jason dry. That might not be. His wife would be a little angry with me. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Jason wouldn't be.
No,
not at all.
He might have another barrel or two of it.
He may have another bright tank full of it somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, speaking of
Duck Donuts,
right.
Whatchamacallit, our top 3 list tonight that we decided to do, and it's an honor, kind of, sorta.
Okay, so most of my brain power during the day is taken up by my day job. I have to think far too hard for that.
And the commute home too. So.
Oh God, the commute home's brutal. Dodging all the tourists in New York City because, Al knows this full well, but Al, I'll tell you right now, I come out of the door into the Flatiron District in front of Italy.
Right.
Then I have to walk up Broadway, and I got to get through Herald Square.
Oof.
From Herald Square, I then have to work my way to Port Authority.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's no tourist traffic whatsoever on my commute. It's all tourists.
It's nothing. I would say that the corridor you take is the tourist corridor.
Yes,
there's
pretty much.
There's no escape. There's no escape unless you cut sideways.
What I did today is I cut
8th Avenue.
I cut west. West, and I hit 8th Avenue at MSG.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, then you can.
But I zigzagged because what I did is I started.
If you're on 23rd and you got to zigzag up to 30.
Well, here's the problem: if I come out, if I make a left, I'm on 24th. If I head towards 8th by there, I'm not making it to 8th because I got to pass Barcade.
Right.
Because Barcade's right there.
Yeah, you're not doing that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be here sitting talking to you guys if I had to do that.
No, you'd be sitting in Barcade on your phone talking.
Right. And if I go up 7 too much and cut over to the 8th at the wrong time, I'm going past. I just forgot.
Haymaker.
Oh God! If you put me in Haymaker,
oh my God, I could stay there all night.
That
place is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
The small plates, I will eat the small plates all night long, and I will exhaust their beer list.
The food is phenomenal.
It is so good.
Everybody talks about the beer. The food there is fantastic.
Yes, Haymaker. Really good. So these are 2 possible places where I can stop and just not make it home.
Right, and you just need to avoid both of them.
So avoid those. So today I got up to 26th, turned, got over to 7th. Took one more block, then got up to 8th, bypassing Haymaker the whole time.
Is the Bye Bye Baby still there on 26th?
Not.
Is it closed?
No, I think that's gone.
That's where I went to my broadcasting school. Center for the Media Arts was on 26th.
Center for Media Arts was on 26th. Yes, it was.
Yeah. Yep. So I know the area very well.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. But the problem with tourists, I don't care that they're in the city. Don't stop every 3 feet to look up
and take a picture.
I want to punch you right in the head.
Actually,
you have to keep moving or move to the side. Understand that there are people behind you.
Right.
My favorite is
tourist lanes on the sidewalks. Tourist lanes on the
sidewalks.
Yeah,
they need bike lanes, bus lanes, tourist lanes.
Forget the bike lanes. None of those guys follow the rules.
They don't.
No. They don't follow the rules, but they want all the pedestrians to follow the rules, and they will curse you out. And one of these days, and I've said it on the show before, I'm going to clothesline a motherfucker off their bike.
Can I tell you?
This is satire, folks.
4 people.
No, it's not.
Nah, I don't know about that.
No, he knows.
Al knows. 4 times last night as I was leaving on Rector Street to make a right turn to head down Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, these delivery bikes, coming the wrong way.
Oh yeah, and they're blowing
and
their horn
looking at me as if I'm the one in the wrong. Like, dude, I've just hit the gas. It's over. You're gone, and I keep going. You can take as many pictures as you want.
You can take him out with the car. I'm going to take him out with a stiff arm. It's getting ridiculous with these bikes.
And the way that area of Lower Broadway is now, you have a bus lane, the car lane, the bike lane. Oh no, parking, and then a bike lane. And where do the bikes ride?
The bike lane is inside the parking.
In the bus lane. Yeah, the bikes ride in the bus lane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can't move. If somebody double parks, you're pushed over to the bus lane. It's a nightmare.
It's
absolute nightmare. And they all stand in the middle of the street to take a picture of the bull. That's the best one. I'm blowing my horn, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, "You're in the middle of the street, and I'm not stopping. I want to go home.
Go in front of the bull,
right?
Or do like almost all the other tourists do, or do like all the other tourists do. Get underneath it with the balls on your forehead and take that shot. You're out of traffic at least.
If you get in front of the bull, you're in the street because the road forks. So either way, you're stuck. It's like, dude, folks, just get off the street.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Crazy.
My question is, why is there a bull statue, not a bear statue there? Where's the bear statue?
Well, they want
a question.
Yeah, I would imagine because they don't want there to be a
bear
market.
And maybe that's the whole reason.
The bull was made by an Italian who brought it over. I believe brought it over from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And then at one point,
it was, yeah.
Wait a second.
And then at one point, they had the girl.
Isn't that the Lamborghini logo?
No, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. But at one point, the girl who was standing in front of the bull.
No, the Lamborghini logo is a bull.
That's not that bull's not the Lamborghini.
That's not the right.
But I understand. But I understand the connection.
The girl that was in front of the bull,
the Defiant girl.
The Defiant girl. They moved her to in front of Wall Street.
Right.
So
Okay.
she sits in front of Wall Street. When you walk past Wall Street, you can see her and you can take pictures.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But there was talk that they were going to move the bull somewhere else, but it looks like it's going to stay there for now.
As annoying as it is, you can't really move it. It's where
it's an icon. It's a part of it. It's a part of that part. It's
the fabric of that icon of the fabric of the financial district.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's where it belongs. But the other thing that the tourists, you get an intersection. You get a bunch coming in on the avenue. You get a bunch coming in on the street, and they all stop, blocking up the whole sidewalk on the corner, while both groups wait for the white walk signal. Nobody in New York who walks in New York waits for the white walks. If flashing hand, you go.
Right.
You go until you see a car move. And if it's
no cars coming,
you go.
Go.
There's no waiting. Bye. You know, I got somewhere to go.
And if you're like a couple people I know, even if it's a red or orange, don't walk with a steady hand. And cars coming, they're still going.
So, yeah. Well, it depends upon how fast they're going, how much of a gap there is, and if you still have momentum.
Well, it's almost like Frogger, right? Oh, I can get over to the middle of the street. This one will pass. I'll wait for that one, and then I'll go.
Yeah. Right. And the thing is, and if you can't there, you make the left or the right. You head down the street, and if there's a gap in traffic there, then you remember that whole thing: walk on the green, but not in between.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. No one does that. No. Only tourists.
Not in New York.
No, not in the green, but not in between.
Yeah. No, you cross between stops traffic. That's when you cross.
I have to run off in a couple of minutes, so I just want to. I know you guys are doing this top 3 donut shops. Is that the theme?
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's do it right now. That's it. So here we go.
I'll give you my 3. And
here
no
we go.
Particular order.
Tonight's top 3 list is the top 3 favorite donut places.
Not cupcake places.
Not cupcake.
No particular order. Dunkin' Donuts, obviously. When they used to make them in the actual stores. The store by me and Clark, they used to actually make the jelly donuts there. So and other donuts as well. Now everything's outsourced to one big warehouse or whatever. They make it and ship them all over the place. But they used to actually make the jelly donuts there, and you knew because they'd come out, they were hot.
Oh yeah,
you bite them open and the jelly would ooze out. That's when Dunkin' Donuts was great. Now it's a mess.
If you've ever been
if you've ever been on Staten Island, Country Donuts is sort of the donut for Staten Island.
Really.
Yeah, I mean,
I would take a note, but I try to avoid Staten Island.
I know, I understand. Country Donuts has been around for a long time. The first one was open off of Richmond Terrace by the 120 precinct on the North Shore of Staten Island. I remember it because I used to go there with my dad in the 70s to go get donuts before we'd go to his gas station.
So, Al, there's that thing where the product's great.
Mm-hmm.
The memory's greater.
Right.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And sometimes that memory makes the product better than it is.
Absolutely.
100%. But Country Donuts is still...
Okay.
They're the kings of Staten Island. I think they have 3 or 4 locations across Staten Island. Everybody goes to them. They're great stuff. Okay. Speaking of the memory and the donut, the last one that I have, they're no longer in existence. And the funny part, because we were showing pictures from the Atlantic City Beer and Music Fest, John Henderson remembered the name because he's from Hawley, Pennsylvania, which is where my grandparents had a house for a very long time. And I used to go up there summers as a kid. So there was a bakery in town in Hawley, and Hawley's a very, very tiny town, maybe like 3 blocks, the 3 little blocks, a little small hometown. They used to have a bakery there called Pollock Bakery that made the absolute best jelly donuts I've ever eaten in my life. We used to pick up 2 dozen before we drive home to Staten Island. Like the dough was a dark brown, like almost burnt, but not really, with the crystal sugar, not powdered. Crystal sugar.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep.
The jelly would be bursting at the seams. Like you would take a bite and it would just ooze.
Like there was a thin layer of dough around a huge amount of jelly.
Lump of jelly.
So what I'm
the best.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing here is Al's a huge fan of jelly donuts.
Oh yeah.
And you may have a little Polish blood in you because Paczki's.
That's it.
Yeah, right there.
That's it. But this was they were a German baker. They were old school, from the fatherland or whatever. I mean, they were unbelievable, the stuff they used to make. But the jelly donuts were the absolute best. And every time we went to my grandparents, we had to bring at least a dozen or 2 home. And I couldn't remember the name of it. And John knew immediately. Like I said, oh, the bakery, the jelly donuts. Oh, Pollock Bakery. He knew immediately.
Pollock Bakery. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
nice.
There you go. There's my 3.
Samurai.
So Al went with some classics. I mean, these are straight up classics. Mm-hmm. I'm going more the artisanal, the new crowd route. John, I there was that one we discussed. Do I bring it up as an
bring up whatever you want, and I'll do whatever you ask.
Because the honorable mention will be Vortex Donuts in Asheville. Karen and I got lucky. We got there before the line, in a lull in the line. When we got up to order, there were 6 people still waiting outside to get in.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
wow. Vortex makes some really good donuts, but there are definitely 3 places to me that have had very memorable donuts. Number 3 is actually a brewery. Northwood's Brewery in Northwood, New Hampshire. They also make pizza. The 3 of us are from the tri-state area, so whatever. But they also make crawler donuts.
Nice.
These things, and they have a bourbon maple bacon crawler donut, which put me in a diabetic shock in the middle of an orgasm. It was,
oh, wow.
It was really conflicting for me, but oh my God, this donut was so good. So
I'm sorry for your clothes.
The drool and it was so much going on.
Very
these stains come.
That's a very handy bakery.
Yes. Yes, there's so much going on here. But their crawler donuts were fantastic. It was one of those we were staying in New Hampshire. We were on our way to Biddeford to the Czech brewery there. And then we were going to head up one town north and hit Joe Granite's favorite brewery for those times where he actually does drink beer,
right?
Barreled Souls, and just driving along like brewery, and the car just did this U-turn by itself. Duke of Hazard itself into a parking space.
I hate when that happens.
And it's like, oh well, we might as well just go in then. So we had a couple of beers there. Carrie thought the logo they had was really cool until I told her it was a fishing lure, because it's like kind of this little lake country they have. But the donuts, my God, the donuts were so good. So that's my number 3. My number 2 comes from this April when we're in Utah. I'm not a huge fan of Moab. It's either one of two things. It's either like kind of obnoxious tourists. We were probably considered obnoxious tourists, or rednecks on ATVs. It's either or. You've either got the extreme sports people or the retired camper vans going through, full of retarees, smelling of mothballs.
Like the vans were not retired. The people inside them.
Yes. That's what. Thank you for enunciating that better than I did. However, there are a few things in Moab that are really worth going there for. Moab Brewery is not one of them, by the way. You can quote me on that. But Doughbird. Doughbird is called Doughbird because in the morning, it's a bakery that serves donuts. In the afternoon, they do hot chicken sandwiches and hot chicken.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's Doughbird.
Okay.
They do something called a crow dough, which is basically a crow nut.
Right.
And my God, they did a Samoa crow dough.
Oh, wow. That sounds good.
Al, this is not on your diet. Your doctor,
No.
Your doctor says no. Not on my diet either. And I went, yes.
Right.
Oh my God. This thing was decadent. And if you've ever had a cronut, it's this fried dough, but it's puffy and flaky at the same time.
Yep.
And it lends itself to so many applications as far as just whoring the flavor onto these things. It's, oh my God, so good.
And your number 1?
My number 1. As anybody who's been following the show, they know that I went through COVID, the first year of COVID in Rhode Island.
Right.
And there is a place in Rhode Island that has a line that will go 3 blocks when they are open, and that is PV Donuts. Now, PVD is the abbreviation for Providence. They are in Providence. They are on the portion of Providence, which is on the backside of the hill where Brown University is. PV Donuts just makes absolutely ingenious, amazing donuts. My favorite is called the Blueberry Muffin Top.
Nice.
Now, what's neat about this, the donut is kind of like a blueberry muffin. And it is filled with blueberry cream. But it's not entirely a sweet cream. It's almost like they did a blueberry sour cream filling in this thing. And
nice.
It was absolute genius. It's one of the best. It's easily the best donut I've ever put in my face. So they get number 1. Everything I've had from them is just inspired and amazing.
Wow.
So if you ever get to Providence, if there's a line, wait on the damn thing. You will not be disappointed.
All right.
The one thing I've learned in many cases for eateries, maybe not so much for breweries, but for eateries, if there's a line, get on the line. Even if you don't know what the hell they're serving, get on the line.
Yeah, get on the line.
There's a reason there's a line. And John knows full well how much I hate lines.
Yep.
I've said many times. I don't stand in line for beer.
There you go.
I hate standing in line for beer. But food items?
Yeah. I will give you my 3. I'll roll them down really quick. Portland, Maine, Holy Donut. That's my number 3.
A damn good donut.
Very good donut.
And their coffee's really good too.
And their coffee's very good. Quick aside, Vortex Donuts, Dave mentioned it before. They have 2 different styles of donuts. You can either get the yeast donuts or the cake donuts. And they have the same donut for each. So you can, if whatever the donuts they have that day, you can get it in cake form or yeast risen dough form.
Nice.
Yeast, please.
Yep. Oh yeah, you got to go with the yeast.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big fan of the French crawler Dunkin' Donuts.
So my number 3, Holy Donut, Portland, Maine. My number 2, Blackbird Donuts in Boston. Fantastic donut shop. They have a couple locations. The original one was over in Fenway, literally 2 blocks around the corner from Fenway, off of Boylston. And they make one of the donuts they make, though. They do an everything bagel donut. So what they do is they actually have a regular donut.
God, I hope Carrie's not listening to this because
they have a regular donut.
That means we're leaving tomorrow.
And they coat the whole top of the donut is everything bagel seasoning.
What's the name of the place?
And it's filled with cream cheese.
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep.
Bird what?
Yeah.
But is it sweet? Or
no, there's an element of sweetness to the dough.
Cream cheese.
But it's
dough.
Cream cheese. The cream cheese is right.
Name the place again.
Blackbird Donuts. Blackbird Donuts. If you scroll back on their, if you go to their Instagram, you scroll back. Oh geez, probably about 5 years actually. If you scroll back on their Instagram back to I think it's like June of 2018, you're going to see one of the photos on their Instagram is a hand holding an everything bagel donut.
Would that be your hand?
It would be my hand, right? It would be my hand. So,
no other reason for him to bring this up.
I'm Insta famous on Blackbird Donut. So anyway, and my number one, it's kind of taking the lead from Al. It's harken back to memories. The bakery's not there anymore. It's gone years ago now, but in Lyndhurst, New Jersey. I grew up in North Arlington, right next door, Lyndhurst, New Jersey, Bergen County. Mazur's Bakery. Mazur's Bakery, Sunday mornings would go there with my father. Every Sunday morning he would get a bag of rolls. Okay. And that would last for sandwiches that day. People, of course, back in the day, company would just show up unannounced, right? On a Sunday or at night or whatever. Boom, there's rolls there. There you go. Right. And, sandwiches or whatever. And then a couple of days during the week, because they lasted, but they were warm. I mean, I remember I'd always take a roll out of the bag on the way home. Like it just came out of the oven before it went out.
I'm
eating it, right? So it's hot, right? But the donuts that they had there, they had jelly donuts, fresh made, just like Al was describing the Pollock Bakery with the crystal sugar and everything else. But they did jelly sticks too. So they were longer, like elongated jelly donuts kind of thing.
Dunkin' Donuts used to do those.
Tons of donuts.
They don't do them anymore.
No, they don't. They used to.
No. Yeah. My father-in-law was a big fan of the jelly stick.
Yeah, but these were we'd get like 2 or 3 dozen donuts, and would anybody even if just a fair amount of company just unannounced showed up on a Sunday, the donuts would barely last till Monday morning. With 2 or 3 dozen. So. But yeah, that's definitely my number one. That's cool.
The one donut experience we have not brought up. And this is an experience that, say what you will about change. We brought up Dunkin' Donuts, but a Krispy Kreme glazed donut coming right off the conveyor belt.
Oh, not this. I mean, it's
close to heaven. Yes,
the one on 23rd is still open.
Yeah, you will get, and there's the big one. There's a new big one on 17 now. Right. You are going to get second-degree burns on your fingers from eating this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And you're shoving it in your face anyway, scalding every piece of tissue that it's hitting. And you don't care because there's few things.
You don't even chew it. It melts.
It melts right in your mouth. Yep.
And so one of our constant guests is Tom Mulvihill. And him and I have a mutual friend from the beer world, Stuart Picard. Stuart Picard one year came over to visit Tom for Thanksgiving. He is from the north of England. He's from the north of England. So he wanted to experience this, and he would not let Tom take a day off of work to cart him around. He wanted to explore the U.S. on his own. The first thing that he did that really endeared us was when him describing him discovering Little Debbie's. It was magical. It's like he'd walked into a whole different universe. But then he walked into the Krispy Kreme and got a donut off the conveyor belt.
And he didn't want to go home.
And he's like, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. I've got to find what he wrote about this. It was genius.
He took a bite of it and he said, I now live here.
I'm living right under the conveyor, like Homer. So good.
Anyway,
my only problem with Krispy Kreme, their coffee is not good.
Oh, the coffee's awful.
It's like Tim Hortons. People used to rave about Tim Hortons when they were here. I'm like, their coffee is garbage.
Yeah, it's not good.
And the other problem I have with Tim Hortons is I love French crollers. I went and got a French croller.
The donuts were awful too.
The donuts are not. They're not that they're just awful. But the French croller, the glaze is okay. They're Canadian. I get it. It's maple glazed. Who maple glazes a French croller?
Yeah.
No, I love
a French Canadian. So it's a French Canadian croller.
Right.
All right, it's not French
They
crawler.
put mayo. They
Canadian
put mayo
crawler.
on everything up in Canada. Like, enough already, please. I can't stand mayo. It's the worst condiment in the world. Get it off
I
of my
love mayo.
hamburger and everything else.
Take off.
Oh, you hoser.
Right.
There is.
Give me poutine. Give me poutine.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
eat it
yeah.
too.
God, give me poutine.
Yeah,
Give me
that's the
poutine
best.
all day.
All day long.
All day long. All day long.
So Carrie and I went to Montreal just recently. I think we had 4 different poutines while we were there.
I mean, you can get it at Burger King.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will poutine your fries at Burger King and McDonald's. Like, come on, really?
Yeah, they
Imagine
will.
if they did that here. Forget
But
it.
if you don't, but you know why you get the poutine at McDonald's is so that you don't get asked if you want mayo with your French fries, because they will. Now if you like Dunkin' Donuts in Rhode Island, there's this place called Honey Dew Donuts.
Okay.
It's Dunkin' Donuts.
Sounds like my lists on the weekend.
Yes, but it's just like Dunkin' Donuts, but they're about 75% bigger.
Oh,
They taste them exactly alike. They're just bigger.
interesting.
And the coffee is actually, I like the honeydew coffee better.
Nice.
See, there you go.
There you go.
And I don't dislike Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
No, Dunkin's coffee's good.
Well, the only
The
problem I have
donuts
with
just aren't good.
I got to be honest with you. Their Dunkin' Donuts coffee is still good, but there's 3 within. There's 2 within 5 blocks of me in 2 different directions, and then there's one that's about a mile away. The one that's about a mile away is passable. The 2 that are within 3 blocks of me or 5 blocks of me, I don't know what they're doing, but the coffee's just not.
Maybe they're just cleaning the filters.
Not good. Just
be.
not. I mean, and
Or the water.
it could be the water too.
The water makes a big difference in coffee.
Well, I got to be
It's
honest
just
with
a
you.
good beer.
It could be their water specifically because,
Yep.
like 2 blocks around the corner, the other way over here is the roastery that we actually got the beans for Nautical Twilight from.
Right.
And when I want coffee out, I go there. I just go there because their coffee's fantastic. It's amazing.
You know my biggest problem with Dunkin' Donuts coffee is though.
What's that?
When you get it, it is at the temperature of magma. Right.
Which is why they stopped putting it in
Styrofoam.
Styrofoam because
Right.
it was
It melts.
melting the styrofoam, right?
You have got like this 2-minute window between magma and ice cold.
Right.
It just sloughs off all its BTUs in a 2-minute span.
Right.
So I rarely ever order a large because there's no one going to finish a large because it's going to get to the. And the thing is, when Dunkin' Donuts coffee gets cold, there's that film on top of it that I can't describe.
Yep.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
But I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
right. You know.
Well,
And-
years ago, I attributed that to the styrofoam melting in the coffee.
but it's not the styrofoam. We now know it's not the styrofoam.
So anyway, all right. On that coffee and donut note, I think we've covered pretty much everything we wanted to. So
I may open the Nautical Twilight now.
There you go.
A little coffee for the boys. There you go.
I guess I will see you 2 gentlemen on Saturday at some point.
You will see us on Saturday.
We will be
We'll
down
both be there. I will be there at. I should be there about 12:30 ish, maybe because
That means around 2.
12. No, it's 12:30.
No, I agree with that. It means 2.
No, it doesn't. I'm going to
Okay,
tell you why. You
So
pains
we
in the asses.
were going to
Okay?
start this show at 6:45 and let Al come in when he went. That was the plan.
We
And I
weren't.
said, no.
And then it was 6:43 when we decided on a top 3 list. You expecting me to post the show in 2 minutes?
No.
Exactly.
You can leave the top 3 off. It doesn't
Anyway.
have to be there.
Anyway, well, we were texting. How can I post and text you at the same time? Anyway, no, I have to go down to eggs.
I've seen him whistle and circle his belly at the same time. You can do 2 things at
I
once.
can't type and text at the same.
I've seen you walk and chew gum at the same time.
I had another pair of hands. I could do it. But anyway, no, I got to go down to Egg Harbor at 10 a.m. And
no one should ever have to go down to Egg Harbor.
A 1-hour tour, not a 3-hour tour with the 3-hour tour.
Wait a second. With Ginger or Marianne?
Oh, no. See,
Mrs. Howell.
Mrs. Howell. There you go.
Let's let you know.
She got the money.
Ginger, Marianne. I'm sorry, Marianne.
Always,
always Marianne. Now, I would not that Ginger would be a bad choice. I would just Samantha or Jeannie. For me, it's Samantha. Jeannie would not be a bad choice, but for me, it's Samantha. So
Okay,
there you go. That's
interesting
for me. But no, I got to go down there. My one daughter, we got to look at another wedding venue for her. So, and it's
again, I ask, are there no firehouses available?
There's plenty. Try and convince her to want it there.
Nobody of her generation was
not at all
in having the reception in a firehouse. It's a dying art.
So they have and the same thing is that they have another appointment for a tour at 11. It's an hour, so we get in the car and we'll be back to Icarus by say 12:30. We should be there by 12:30, quarter to 1. So
sounds good.
So we'll see you definitely then. And,
all right, boys,
and we'll go from there.
And we'll take another silly picture.
And we'll take another silly picture. I actually, you know what? I took the picture. Dave, you weren't there last year. The picture that
no, I was there last year.
No, Dave wasn't there.
Oh, Dave wasn't. That's right.
Yeah, but here, hold on. I'll take 2 seconds because you're gonna want to see this.
John knows full well I avoid the shore like the plague during the summer.
That's true.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
I grew up down there.
So,
and now I live up here, further north than you, Al.
Yes, that's true.
Right outside the Lincoln Tunnel, so you can imagine what my traffic is like.
Oh yeah, I know.
Exactly. Oh, there's the picture.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
You see how I kill some time there with my co-host?
Look the hair.
The purple. Nice.
I had to pull the purple hair picture up.
Oh yeah, purple was good.
The purple hair, wasn't that right after you declared cancer-free?
Yeah, well, that's the second time I've done the purple. First time I did the purple was a mohawk.
Right.
That when I was cancer-free. And
that's
this time around, I just did it because I did blonde the year before and, went to purple.
Are you showing up with plaid?
No. I'm actually getting a haircut tomorrow, but I'm not doing color.
Oh, my God. They went plaid.
Hey, it's gone plaid.
They're jamming our radar with all this jelly donut talk.
Exactly.
Well, here's to Al staying cancer-free.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, we need you around a long, long time.
I'm not going anywhere. So I will see you guys on Saturday. Thanks for having me on the show tonight.
Thank you for coming. Really appreciate you coming on. Yeah. And it's always great when you come on. This is you're catching up to Tom. So as far as guest appearances. So
there you go.
No, we definitely love having you on and appreciate you coming on with
and your insights, the knowledge, and the sources that you have.
And Dave just so you're aware, he's actually been on the Get On With It podcast too. So
yes, you've told me that. And we never even got into the Laviolette hiring.
We did not get into Laviolette hiring.
I will say, I'll put it this way: I've known Peter for 20-something years. It's a great move. They will win a cup with him if they allow him to do what he does. Mm-hmm. He's no nonsense. These pretty boys aren't going to get away with pushing people around. He pushes back. It's a competitive division. I think that Peter can take them places, but I think it's a short shelf life. I think he's got a narrow window here. 2-3 years.
He does. Tops. 2-3 years. And I think they can do it. I mean, they were
a good team right now. Yeah. I think they one more defender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's Mike Keenan just in the 2000s.
Right.
Keenan came in, won a cup for the Rangers. There was a money thing. He sort of soured on them a couple of years later. He's out. Mm-hmm. Laviolette's bounced around to a bunch of different teams, brought the Islanders back to respectability. Won a cup with Carolina, took a Flyers team to the cup, took a Predators team to the cup. Mm-hmm. He knows how to motivate people and get people moving.
He's the winningest American-born coach in NHL history.
Yeah, and that motivation,
his shelf life is very narrow because his message wears thin.
That motivation factor right there is why the last coach lost his job.
Right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So, exactly.
But I think listen, out of all of them there, I think that was the best one, the best fit for that team.
Yeah. So as a Rangers fan, I'm not getting excited just yet because I'm also a Mets fan. I know you don't get excited just yet.
Dave texted me before. He says, "What do you think of Peter Laviolette hiring?" I'm like, I said, "Well, let's see. He won a cup with the Canes. He took the Flyers and the Predators to the cup. He's the winningest American-born coach." I go, "So we'll see."
Well, Peter owes me $1 because I bet him when he was the coach of the Islanders that he would be coaching the Flyers one day and would take them to a cup. And he said, no, I'll never coach the Flyers. Well, sure what happened? So he owes me $1.
Hey, he played 12 NHL games in his playing career.
with the
Rangers.
Rangers. Yeah, that's right.
So, there you go.
Coming back home.
There you go.
That's it. That's it. All right, gents.
All right, you got it.
See you on
Thanks, Al.
Saturday.
Thanks, Al. We'll talk to you
Cheers.
soon.
All right. Thanks,
Cheers.
guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. Well, you hanging out for the sign off?
Should I? I might as well.
Might as well. Why not? All right. Well,
It's an impressive thing.
that was the dramatic pause. So
that was a dramatic pause.
We thought you were
it's like the Zoom. It's like the Zoom call when everyone goes bye.
Bye.
Everybody waves
We
to one
See
another.
ya. Goodbye.
We expected you to Irish exit.
I thought you were. I thought you were Irish. I thought you were Irish
Okay.
goodbying. So.
Wait, let me
Homer
take my
right-
lunchbox
Homer right
and
to
go
the-
home.
All right.
That's such a cool lunchbox.
Exactly. All right. On that note, we'll wrap up the show for today. We want to thank everyone for watching.
Asteroid City, is that?
And for those
Yes.
of you just listening to the audio podcast, Asteroid City, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LEGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show.
You stumbled. I
did.
Wow, that's
Again,
that is a rarity, folks.
Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. I used to do disclaimers at the end of radio commercials, doing voiceovers, and I didn't have to speed up my voice because I talked them so fast. But that was a joke. But no, it's true. But I was joking.
You're still stumbling.
But
and
in any event,
right now on eBay, Asteroid City lunchbox, there is one for $27, but there's also one for $100.
Oh,
there you go.
Look at that.
These things hit eBay quickly.
There you go. Very nice.
You just looked off to the side.
I looked off to.
Is Jason over there?
Jason's over there. No, I got my bobbleheads that from last year when we went to Keith Hernandez Day, and I got the Ron Darling. I never got the Gary Cohen last year. I didn't go back. I didn't get the Gary Cohen.
When are we going to a game?
We got to go to one.
Al, you're coming with us, right?
Sure. Let me know when.
This year we got a tailgate before and after, but we also have to make it over to the brewery too. We got to go over.
Yes, we didn't do that last.
No, we didn't.
No, we did not.
Well, the place that's the most jam packed I've seen that stadium in.
Well, because it was Keith Hernandez. So we go to a regular Saturday game, it's not going to be that packed.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So let's pick a date. Let's get a date down.
There we go. All right. Cool.
All right. We'll talk Saturday.
We'll talk Saturday about it.
Yep.
There you go. Anyway, drink a lot of beer, drink responsibly. If you're anywhere near Lakewood, New Jersey, this Saturday,
stay away so there's more beer for us.
Stay away so there's more beer for us. No, there's plenty of beer there. Come on over to Icarus.
Go support Jason
for their Lager Fest. Go support Jason Goldstein and the boys, and have a beer with us. And we'll talk to you then, folks. Take care.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.